Yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC Vegas 96 Cannonier versus Borralho. We back with another breakdown of a card that is, actually I would say decent. I think it's a very solid card on paper, which for an Apex card is extremely rare to say. I think it's a pretty fine card. 12 fights. Also, actually, seems like that's been rare lately to get a 12-13 fight card in the Apex, and some really decent fights. You got an amazing main event. You got some really good main card fights. You got the tough finale fights. The prelims are okay. It's a solid card. Like, I think this might be one of the best looking Apex cards in a while. I think it's a very solid card, and I'm excited for it. I'm actually excited for it. I've been excited for it all week, which is actually rare. Usually I don't get excited for the card till I'm like breaking it down. So I'm excited. I think this should be a good card. Definitely high expectations, which means it's probably gonna suck. So, but you can only hope, right? So, yeah, not really much else I can say before we get into the breakdown. I think the card looks decent, and I guess let's break it down. Before I do, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024. And as always, unless I'm forgetting to say something, which I don't believe I am, ready to break down 12 fights in the Apex? I am, for once. So, let's do it. 12 fights in total, as I said, and we begin in the women's flyweight division. Well, it's a very intriguing fight. I'm actually kind of intrigued in this fight. Weirdly, I might say one of the fights I'm most excited for on the card, just because I'm really interested and excited to see how one of these fighters do. As in our first fight of the night, at women's flyweight, we have the Joker, Cong, Wang versus Victoria Fury Leonardo. Is it the best fight ever to be in a card? No, but it should be interesting. I think this is a very intriguing fight. Got a debuting, undefeated, interesting fighter against a Kaan. Let's see how this goes. Let's begin the night with Cong, Wang, Cong, however the fuck you want to say it. Obviously, Cong is making her UFC debut, coming off the road to UFC, where she had a fight that impressed the UFC enough to give her a contract. She looked amazing on road to UFC, getting a quick 3-minute submission. She's good. She looks to be really good. She's very tall and lengthy. Good striking. 5'6", 66.5-inch reach. 32 years old. Had some very intriguing wins. Good kickboxer, as you see down here. She beat Valentin in kickboxing, which is fucking insane. I think that says a lot. You can beat Valentin in kickboxing in 2015, right? So 9 years ago, and then 2 fights ago, she beat former UFC fighter Yunan Wu. So again, Yunan's shit, but a win's a win, ain't it? So she has 2 wins, one over one of the greatest female fighters of all time, and a win over a former fighter just this year. So this is going to be her 3rd fight in 2024, and I'm intrigued. I think she could be a really interesting fighter in the flyweight division. Could be another really interesting prospect to watch, since she is very good. From what I saw, I've only seen one of her fights. Of course, that was the road to UFC fight. Again, she looked great. Was her opponent great? Probably not. 5'2", very short compared to her. 5'2" to 5'6", so kind of undersized. It's kind of a complete mismatch, but still, Cong showed up and showed out, and I think she's a very intriguing fighter. I'm not gonna call her a prospect yet because we've not seen her fight in the UFC, but I'm intrigued. Like, the only bad thing I've seen is she's 32 years old, which is old, but for how young she is into her career, I don't think that's a big problem. So let's see what Cong can do. Great kickboxer, got some nice wins before the UFC, has pretty active, fought fucking twice this year. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Let's see what she can do. Let's see if this was a good signing, or was she just looking good versus cans. Guess we have to wait and find out. Speaking of cans, let's talk about her opponent, Victoria Leonardo. Victoria in the UFC is 1-3. Her one win is against Mandy Bohm, and her 3 losses are Manon Fiorot, Melissa Gatto, and Natalia Silva, since coming over from the Contender Series, getting a contract there. First of all, I'll say she's been so unlucky with fucking fights. Manon Fiorot, Melissa Gatto, and Natalia Silva. Fiorot and Natalia Silva could be a title fight one day, and Melissa Gatto is very fucking good. Plus, she fought Erin Blanchfield and Miranda Maverick down there. I'll give her that. She's losing to really good fighters. Maverick, Erin, Manon, Natalia. I'll give her that much. Her one win is against the worst fighter she has fought in Mandy Bohm, so I'll give her props there as well. But she's not good. Like, she's not very good. I'm trying to think, what is her skill set? I guess grappling. Her grappling's okay, but is it amazing? No. At 34 years old, 9-5, coming off getting destroyed over a year ago. She's just not very good. Like, again, I'm not kind of like a Ricky Glenn situation where I'm not even sure what her main skill set is. Like, I guess I would say her grappling, but is even that amazing? Not really. I know she can't fucking strike. We've seen that 3 times in the UFC. But I say that as she's fought amazing strikers like Manon and Natalia. So she lost to Erin Blanchard by head kick. How the fuck do you get KO'd by Erin Blanchard? We saw how bad her striking is. But yeah, we all know what this fight is for Leonardo. She's literally just getting fed to the wolves. She's here to make Cong either look good or fraud check her. So she's gonna do her job, I think, probably pretty well, and probably making her look good. I don't think she's gonna fraud check her, but you never know. Maybe Cong is just a complete joke who was fighting bad fighters. You never know. But again, she beat Valentina fucking Shevchenko in kickboxing, so I kind of highly doubt someone who can beat Valentina Shevchenko is going to lose to Victoria Leonardo. So this is just a fucking Victoria's just cannon fodder here. She's been most of her UFC career. So let's see how she does. Let's see. I'm not very sure. See what her get beat up, because I know we're not gonna see her win. So I guess let's wait and see. The betting odds first, I have Cong weighing -800. I think that's lower than what they are now. I think she's up to like -1000 by this point. She is hands down the biggest favorite on the card now. At one point she was tied with Mike Morales, and now she's the clear-cut favorite at -1000. A lot of -1000 favorites lately. I swear we had one not that long ago as well. About 6% going Victoria Leonardo. Guess they see a fraud. Of course I'm going Cong Wang. She's my lock of the night. I think she's gonna dominate. I was impressed with her on the road to UFC. I think she's a talented fighter from what I've seen, and that Valentina Shevchenko win, she beat Yanan Wu. She's beat UFC fighters. So I'm intrigued to see how she does here in the big show, and let's see, man. So I'm gonna go Cong Wang to win this fight. Again, my lock of the night. And I'm gonna go by... Oh, they don't have a fucking thing. Okay. I think she's gonna get a knockout. I think she's gonna come and show that kickboxing, just destroy Leonardo. Kind of the same thing Natalia Silva did. So give me Cong Wang by knockout in the first. Domination. I think she'll probably win a bonus for how dominant this is. I don't know if this fight will even go that long, and I'm very excited to see how she looks here. So give me Cong Wang by knockout in the first and a mauling of a debut. She's either gonna get a knockout in the first round or a submission in the first round, one or the other. Hopefully she's not a fraud, because if so, fuck. But I don't think she is. So give me Cong Wang by knockout in the first, my lock of the night to begin the night. And I think that's a fun way to begin the night. I think that's a decent fight to begin the night, since we're probably getting a finish. So good job, UFC. After that, we have to our second fight of the night, which definitely might be a fight where people are looking at questioning why this is on the card. And I'll answer that question in a second. As in our second fight of the night, we head to featherweight for a very kind of fight that just showed up on the card. But I'm happy they're doing this fight. Again, I'll tell you the backstory. As in our second fight of the night, at featherweight, we have Zygimantas Ramaska versus Nathan Fletcher. So the story behind this fight is Zygimantas was meant to fight Martin Santos, who's in the tough finale on the main card against Kaan, but he got injured and couldn't fight that fight against Santos to see who fought Kaan tonight, or on this card in the finale. So instead of letting him get screwed over out of a UFC chance completely, they were giving him a fight against Nathan Fletcher, which is respectable, because again, Zygimantas did get kind of screwed over. He got injured in his first round matchup and couldn't fight his second round matchup, which if he won, he would be in the finale against Kaan in the main card. So I respect the UFC for doing this. And then Nathan's just here because he's a tough guy. So I like this fight, and this fight could be really fun. If you saw Zygimantas on the show, then you know he had one of the best fights, and Nathan Fletcher, well, not so much, but that's the backstory of the fight. And now I think makes sense why this is here, because you don't want to screw a guy out of his shot. So good booking by UFC. And now let's talk about the fighters. I'm not gonna say much about these tough guys even for the finale fight, because I've only seen 2 fights of them, so forgive me. And I don't remember every tough fight, but I'll remember what I can, and let's get into it. We'll start with Zyga, I think is the abbreviation they called him. Of course, UFC debut. He went 1-0 on the show on Ultimate Fighter, beating, I'm not even gonna try and remember his name, but this guy who's pretty much a bantamweight, who was just barely who was just fighting at featherweight, way bigger than, was using him just as a punching bag, and it was a clear win for Zyga, from what I remember. So he showed good striking in that match, good chin, good power, and he dominated. He dominated. Again, it was a guy who's not really a featherweight, so it's kind of like, but still nice, still a very nice performance. And now he was meant to fight Martin, who knows how that was gonna go, and now he's fighting Nathan, which is way easier. So again, I'm happy he's getting the shot. Do I think he's that great of a fighter? I think he's entertaining. I don't know if he's really an amazing fighter. Do I think he would have beat Santos, or even if he did, do I think he would have won the actual tournament and beat Kaan? Probably not. But you never know. You're never going to know. Hopefully, if depending on if he wins this fight, and he should fight the winner of the Santos Kaan fight. So yeah, I think that'd be fair. And yeah, again, I'm happy he's getting this opportunity. And let's see how he does on a 3-fight knockout streak outside before tough. Yeah, this definitely popped up 10-10. Not impressed by that, but 14-4, 25-7. Those are not bad wins. And see how this dude does. 27 years old, 9-2 from Lithuania, if I'm correct. Yes. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he does. And again, if he wins, he should fight the winner of the Kaan Santos fight later. So let's see if he can get that W. To talk about his opponent, Nathan Fletcher. Nathan obviously made his UFC debut, also part of the tough season. He did not. He's here just, I guess, to have this fight. He lost to, funny enough, Kaan in the first round, and then he just hung around the show. I guess they picked him out of all the featherweights to fight Zyga here, so cool. I was not impressed with Nathan. I thought he kind of sucked, but he did fight Kaan, who I think is probably going to win the tournament later. Kind of spoiler to my pick. So we'll see if Nathan's any good from Cage Warriors, which has been very hit or miss with fighters lately. For your Patty Pimplets and fucking whoever the fuck you get, fucking Molly McCann, and it's very hit or miss to fight. Like Jordan Vucenic, a great fighter from there, but then you get Molly McCann, a terrible one, so, or Corey McKenna, shit like that. So, but he's 8-1, only one loss in his career to that guy. Now I'm gonna Dominique Wooding. I guess that's the probably not a great loss. Let's see. Oh God. You're not helping. This ain't helping me think he's any better. But he's young, 26 years old, 8-1. I think he does it. Funny enough, I brought up Patty and Molly. I'm believed he trains with them. Yeah, he trains with Patty and Molly. I remember that from the show. So, well, we know he can't strike for shit, but at least he can grapple. But yeah, I'm not impressed with Nathan. I don't think he's very good, and I think he kind of, again, lucky he got this fight, because I don't think he was going to make it to the UFC otherwise. But they do love British fighters, so maybe he would have anyway. But, yeah, let's see how he does here. Let's see if he can upset the dude who was meant to maybe fight in the finale. The betting after this fight have Nathan Fletcher -175 to +140. I don't see why. Zyga looked way better on the show. He won his first round matchup. Like, I'm a little confused. So, I would have it a pick'em. I think this is a pick'em fight. Zyga, see how his style adapts to Nathan Fletcher, because Zyga fought a guy who was kind of just a brawler like him. Fletcher fought a complete wrestler in Kaan, so now they're fighting the complete opposite. So it's going to be interesting how their styles mesh up. If Zyga can stop takedowns, I think he's going to beat Nathan. If Nathan can get takedowns, he's going to beat Zyga. So, like, I think this is a pick'em. I don't really see what people have saw to give Nathan -175. I think that's a little pushing it, but maybe they see something I don't. What I do see is a fight that I think is hard to predict, and I'm not sure who's going to win. I'm going to put a pick in, and I think that pick's going to be probably Zyga. He impressed me more on the show. I think he's the more entertaining and better fighter, and I'm going to go with him. Again, I was not impressed with Nathan. I was impressed with Zyga. So that's what I'm going to go with. Give me Zygimantas Ramaska by decision. I don't think we get a finish here by either guy, but you never know. But yeah, should be an interesting fight. Should be an interesting fight, and we might be seeing who the winner of the Kaan Santos fight will be fighting. So yeah, not very much else to say. Give me Zyga by decision. This fight could be fun. That's something I would kind of say. This fight could be fun. Hard to predict, but should be entertaining. So give me Ramaska by decision. After that, we head to our third fight of the night. That's 3 Tapology. And then our third fight of the night, we head to the women's bantamweight division, which is never a good thing to say. And then our third fight of the night, we have Josiane Nunes versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Yeah, I think the Cong Wang fight's better than this, and I even think the co-main's way better, so this is definitely the worst women's fight on the card out of the 3. It's at women's bantamweight, so are we shocked? If it's not Irene Aldana or something like entertaining, I'm not really too hopeful. So this is not a great fight, probably won't even be an entertaining one at that, but let's just talk about it real quick and see what happens. So let's begin with Josie Nunes. Josie in the UFC is 3-1. Her 3 wins are Bia Malecki, Romana Pascal, and Zara Farron, and her 1 loss is to Chelsea Chandler. She's not that good. Like, she went on a nice winning streak, beat Bia Malecki, beat Pascal, beat Zara, but what do all those 3 have in common? Ass, and ass. They suck. Like, Bia Malecki is the best fighter out of the 3, and that was her best performance. She looked okay against Pascal from what I remember. She might dominate her. I don't remember Josie Nunes versus Romana Pascal. I'm not gonna fucking lie to you. And then I remember her looking awful versus Zara Farron. Like, that was a very competitive fight, which it shouldn't have been. That was a way too competitive fight for someone who was trying to be this prospect. And not gonna lie, that fight being so competitive is the main reason I picked Chelsea Chandler as an underdog versus Nunes. I think that fight really just kind of exposed Nunes' problems. She's not good against taller fighters. Yeah, I know she beat Bia Malecki, but Bia Malecki is awful. And she just has real issues with taller fighters. Like, she's like Jessica Andrade without any of the talent. Like, she up 2 weight classes above where Andrade is. Well, even 1 weight class. Like, even at fucking 25, like, being this short's fine, but being 5'2" at 35 is just not you're not gonna win. You're just not gonna win. You're undersized. You're meant to, like, being in a weight class you're not meant to be in is meant to give you an advantage, not fucking weaken your chances. And all Josie at 35 is making her a worse fighter. She should be fighting at 25, if not even flyweight, or I mean strawweight. So she's just not very good. And the Chelsea Chandler performance was okay, but she clearly lost. And I just don't really, like, a lot of her hype is gone, even though I think most of her hype was just memes. And I just don't think she's that good. She has power in her hands, but she actually has to be able to hit you, and when you're fucking 6-7 inches taller than her, it's not very easy. So I think she's lucky she hasn't been kneed in the head yet and got KO'd. So if she fought anyone of any talent, she probably would be. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think Josie's very good. Like, her wins are weak. Her last fight looked okay, but that loss is not aging greatly. Her other 3 wins are not even in the UFC anymore, so she's beat no one in the UFC, and her only loss just lost in embarrassing fashion. She did beat Dione Barboza, who's a decent fighter on the roster. She lost to Talia Santos, which is a fine loss. But I don't know. I just don't see a lot of bright side, upside, whatever with Josie. I kind of just see more red flags. So maybe she'll turn back the clock and look like how she did in her first UFC fight, but if we get the same performance we've seen from her lately, she might be taking her second loss in a row. So let's see what happens. To talk about her opponent, Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Jacqueline is 1-0 in the UFC. In her UFC debut, funny enough, she beat Zara Farron. Looked way better versus Zara than Josie did. Dominated her. It was just a way better performance, and it's definitely going to be a really big factor to who I think you pick to win this fight. So, and plus she has a nice win over Nora Cannoli, who's a very good fighter. Is she in the top 15? I think she's right outside of it. She's fighting GDR in a month or so. So that's a nice win. I'm not seeing, like, outside the Zara fight, I've never seen Cavalcanti fight. And from what I saw in that fight, she's okay. I don't think she's a bad fighter. But again, it was Zara Farron who is trash, but she looked better against Zara than Josie did, so take that with what you will. She's only 26 years old, young to her career. This is only her 8th career fight. She's been off for almost a year, so almost a year on the dot. And let's see how she does in her return. Getting a step up in competition. Let's see how she does. Can't really think much more to say. She's a good striker. She's a decent striker, and this is gonna be a striking match. I don't see either of them going for takedowns. So let's see what happens in this fight. Not very much else I can say. I just don't really have much to say about Jacqueline Cavalcanti. So the betting odds have Cavalcanti minus 190 to plus 160. I don't know if I would have her almost minus 200, but I could see. Wow. Okay. I would have Cavalcanti more minus like 160, 170. I don't think she would be almost minus 200. I think that's a little bit high for a very inexperienced fighter fighting someone who's definitely more experienced in the UFC and is a ranked fighter. So I would have it more 160, 170, but I'm not upset at 190. It's not the worst odds possible. And yeah, I am going to go with Jacqueline Cavalcanti. The main things I said about Josie, she's much taller, 5'8" to 5'2", so fucking 6-inch height advantage, a 3-inch reach advantage. She's 4 years younger. She's, I think, a better striker. Josie's just going to throw wild hooks and shit and try and hit her. And in a technical battle, Cavalcanti should win this. Is it going to be exciting? No. But I think Cavalcanti just skirts around the octagon for 15 minutes, bops Nunes up, lands the better shots, and probably wins a boring decision. She's not going to go into a firefight because that would be fucking stupid. If she tried to have a firefight with Nunes, she's probably getting dropped. So just do it. Just have a fucking logical game plan. Go in there and point fight and win. It's not really complicated. So yeah, not really much else I can say. I'm going to Jacqueline Cavalcanti by decision. Not very much else I can say. Just fight smarter, not harder. After that, we have to our fourth fight of the night in the lightweight division. A fight that's probably going to be fun, probably going to give us our second finish. I almost said first finish of the night, but it would be our second finish of the night. As we head to lightweight for a fight between Viacheslav Slavaklaus Borshchev versus James Goku Llontop. This should be a fun fight. This is two strikers, two dudes with power. Someone's probably getting finished, so this could be fun. Hey, if Slavaklaus is on the card, you know it's probably going to be a fun fight for sure then, so this should be fun. This should be fun. Slavaklaus versus a fellow striker. This should be a fun fight. So, enough talk. Let's get into it. Fourth fight of the night. Let's begin with Slavaklaus. Slava in UFC is 2-3-1. His 2 wins are Dakota Bush and Meerschaert. His 3 losses are Mark Diakese, Mike Davis, and Chase Hooper. And he had a draw with Nazim Sedikov. He also came off Contender Series beating another UFC fighter, Chris Duncan. So, Slava is super one-dimensional. Like, if you look at all his wins, they're against strikers. If you look at all his losses, they're against grapplers. Yeah, he can't grapple for shit. He's never got better grappling, and he kind of just, if you try to do anything grappling-wise, you will beat him. Like, he can't grapple. Striking, he's great. He's going to beat you up into striking. Like, he fucking had a great fight with Nazim Sedikov, who is very talented himself, but in a grappling match, he has no chance. He's not a good grappler, which is actually funny. He goes to American Top Team, who has guys like Uriah fucking Faber, or not American Top Team, Team Alpha Male, with guys like Faber and fucking, like, good fucking grapplers. Ricardo Ramos, who we just saw not win last week. Like, there's good grapplers he can train with, but he's just never got better at grappling. Like, he's been in the UFC like 2 years now, and I've never seen him do anything on the ground that's like good. So, but that's why the UFC is giving him a striker here. So he actually A, has a good fight, and B, doesn't lose. So, because a loss here, I don't know if you would cut him, but his seat is getting very, very warm, if anything. So, and like the thing is, when he is in a kickboxing match, like if UFC was just kickboxing, he might be a top 15 fighter. He's a great kickboxer. He just can't. If you fucking start grabbing his leg and shit, he's kind of fucked. So, and his cardio ain't very good. It's just, he's one-dimensional, which is definitely one of the worst things you could be in the UFC. So, but his opponent might be even more one-dimensional. So, yeah, Slava's getting a very favorable matchup here. As we go to his opponent, James Llontop, who is 0-1 in the UFC, coming out Contender Series, where he got a contract for no reason, in my opinion. And in his UFC debut, he lost to Chris Padilla, a guy who stepped in on short notice, and Llontop missed weight. Good job, dickhead. Yeah, Llontop's terrible. I have no idea why they signed him. Like, I called him one of the worst signings of last season, and I was proven completely right. Like, and I picked him to beat Padilla, and I was like, dude, like, Chris Padilla is really good. I'll give it, like, I'm not even upset he lost Chris Padilla. I'm more upset he looked so terrible against Chris Padilla. And you missed weight. The guy who stepped in on short notice made weight, you fuck. So, like, Llontop's terrible. He has the look of a fighter. He looks like a fighter. He can't fucking fight. He's terrible. He's an okay striker. But, like, cardio, ass. Ground game, non-existent. Like, he's terrible. And I'm happy they're feeding him to Slavaklaus, because I'm gonna enjoy seeing him get knocked the fuck out. Because again, he's a joke. He's so terrible. It's actually funny. So yeah, I have no idea what Dana saw in this guy to sign him, and he's not the only guy I'm saying that about on this card. Trust me, the next fight I'm saying the same thing, and it's even worse. So he's terrible, and he's literally just like I'll give him, he's a striker. And at least we're not going to see Slava get wrestled fucked again, but Llontop's just ass. So, I don't know. I think Llontop's terrible. I don't know what Dana saw in him. And he's going to get destroyed here, so that's going to be great to see. So, not very much to say. Dana, I told you this was a bad signing, bro. A lot of people debated with me. I thought a few people debated with me. I was right. Sorry. The betting odds for fight have Slava clause at -250 to +205. Yeah, I'd probably agree. You could. I don't want to put him -300. I think that's too high for a guy who, if Llontop did come in with a grappling game plan, could beat him. But -250 sounds about right. If in a kickboxing match, he's about -250. Like, Llontop could crack him. Fucking Chase Hooper did. But Chase Hooper did because he fucking was not expecting an overhand by Chase Hooper. Llontop, he's expecting punches, so he's gonna try and block them. So, just common sense here. So, I'm going Slava clause. He should run through Llontop, and it should be fun. So, a good way for Slava to get back on track after, like, losing to Chase Hooper. The embarrassing part of the Chase Hooper fight was not losing to Chase Hooper. It was getting knocked down by Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper's a good fighter. He just can't strike to save his fucking life. So, yeah. But, yeah, my pick here is going to be Slava clause. I'm going to go by knockout in the second, I believe. I don't think he's going to finish him in the first. I think he's going to, like, beat him up in the first a little bit and then finish him probably pretty quickly into the second. So, either way, I think he's going to get finished in the first 10 minutes of the fight. So, if not, he's going to win a decision, which I don't see happening. So, give me Slava clause by knockout in the second. A better striker, better kickboxer, better fighter. Slava clause by knockout in the second. If you lose this Slava, you might get cut. The loser of this could easily get cut. I don't think they will. They probably should. Give me Slava by knockout in the second. Should be a fun fight. After that, we head to our co-main of the prelims in the middleweight division. Fight that's not great and somehow has an even worse fucking Contender Series signing than Llontop, but Dana loves signing garbage. As in our co-main event, the prelims are 5th fight of the night, if I'm correct. Yep. We head to middleweight for a fight between Jose Chico Medina versus Zach the Savage Reese. I didn't mean to add the to Savage. That's Jillian Robertson saying, but you know. Yeah, I'm not gonna waste a lot of time on this fight because it's just kind of like, ugh. So let's start with Jose Medina. Medina is making his UFC debut after coming off Contender Series. Why did he get a contract? You may ask. I don't know. I don't fucking know. He got his ass beat for 15 minutes and he got a contract. He showed heart. Yeah, because fucking Godzilla didn't do shit. Like fucking Magomed Godzishulov fucking couldn't finish him because he's not that good. Like he fucking battered him for fucking 15 minutes and Dana's like, man, Jose showed heart. We gotta fucking sign him. No! If all you gotta do to get a contract on Contender Series is get your ass beat, I would take a fucking contract. I think that most people would. Because Medina might be the worst, depending on how he looks here, if he gets dominated by Zach Reese here, he might go down as the shittiest Contender Series signing of all time. Because he didn't even fucking win. He didn't even show anything that showed impressive. He got his fucking ass handed to him for 15 minutes, got handed the contract because he did a little bit of taunting as he got his ass beat. He showed heart. I respect the heart. He's not a quitter. No, he's not a quitter. He can't fight though. Like, what the fuck? You signed a punching bag. This dude's fucking terrible. And, like, cool, you got a Bolivia fighter. Probably the first one ever. They're gonna name that random stat they could fucking use every 10 minutes. But that's all you got out of him. You got the first ever Bolivia fighter. He can't fight. He's a punching bag and he got a contract for getting beat up. Fucking pathetic, man. Like, again, if all you gotta do is get beat up on Contender Series to get a contract, I think everyone will fucking line up outside the Apex. Shit. Like, and not even get knocked out, just get beat up a little bit. Fuck, man. Annoying. Like, he makes Llontop look like fucking Jamal Hill and Sean O'Malley off the Contender Series. Fucking weird. To talk about his opponent, Zach Reese. Zach in UFC's 1-1 coming out of Contender Series where he actually earned his contract. In his UFC debut, he got fraud checked by Cody Brundage, got dropped on his head and knocked out. Then in his most recent fight, 2 months ago, he ran through Julian Marquez. Reese is not a good fighter, he's just a brawler. He's going to either get knocked out or knock you out. He's never seen a second round. The longest one of his fights have went is 4:13 in the first. So Reese ain't a fucking world beater either, but he looks like goddamn GSP compared to Jose Medina. So he's gonna run through Medina. He's just better. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what I can add to a fight that's the most. Reese should be fighting like someone better than Medina. He should be fighting. I could think of 100 other guys he could be fighting. Fucking Abdulrazak Al Hassan, or like fucking, I don't know, fucking insert lower level middleweight here. It's just like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going Zach Reese to win this fight at -400. You can have him -500. Do I think he has a chance of losing this fight? Not really. Like, how would he lose? Medina fucking... Unless the fight goes into round 2 and Medina has more cardio, which I doubt, then sure. Then Medina could win a boring decision. But Reese is probably going to run through this guy. So give me Zach Reese by knockout first. Medina's just ass. Yeah, he's tough. Has he ever been knocked out? Never been knocked out, I'll give him that much. He's tough. He's an awful fighter. So he's a punching bag. Give me Zach Reese by knockout in the first. This is just a fucking... This is pretty much this is pretty much gonna look like a guy versus a heavy bag. Because that's all it is. Zach Reese by knockout in the first. What's Tapology think? Thank God they're not that stupid. Fucking... Come on, Dana. And now for our featured prelim, the only fight to have changed during the week. So, but at least it didn't change for the worse completely. This could still be a fun fight. As in our featured prelim, I believe up at lightweight now. Oh no, featherweight. I thought this got moved up a weight class since it's a short notice replacement, but I guess I am wrong. We will still stay in the featherweight division. As in our sorry, my voice was going after ranting about Jose Medina. As in our featured prelim in the featherweight division, we have Dennis the Great Buzukja versus Francis Fire Marshall. This fight was originally meant to be Dennis Buzukja versus Danny Silva, but Danny pulled out on Monday, Tuesday, and Marshall stepped in very quickly after, so I'll give him respect for that. So yeah, Buzukja stays on the card, he stays as the featured prelim, and let's see what happens in this fight. Got two very young fighters here from the Contender Series. Let's see who wins. Let's start with Dennis Buzukja, the guy who was meant to be on this card. Dennis in the UFC is 1-2, come out Contender Series, where actually I didn't mean to say Contender Series because he didn't get a contract. He stepped in a short notice to fight Sean Woodson last year. Got destroyed, but he didn't look the worst. Then in his second UFC fight, he fought Jamal Emmers and got KO'd in 50 seconds. Not the greatest first two UFC fights. Emmers and Woodson, two very good veterans of the division, kind of bullshit to Buzukja. But then he finally got stepped down in competition earlier this year, and he completely destroyed Connor Matthews, and the best performance of his career so far. So good performance by Dennis Buzukja there, and now he's kind of riding high into this fight. Like, he really needed to win that Matthews fight, because if he didn't, he was gonna get cut, I think. But he looked good. He looked great, dominated Matthews from bell to bell, and got to knock out in the third, so good on him for that. You can't be mad at him being 1-2 in the UFC when your first two UFC fights are Sean Woodson and Jamal Emmers. It's like, what the fuck do you want him to do? So, Buzukja is a fine fighter. He's from the Ray Longo camp. He trains with Aljo, who'll probably be in his corner, Marab, that genius, Longo, Matt Farah, etc., etc. So, yeah. So but he's actually like more of a striker. He can grapple, but it's not fucking. I don't remember him really doing that much in UFC so far. And again, his striking is his strong suit. So as he looked great against Connor Matthews on the feet in his last fight. So yeah, Buzukja is a fine fighter. Like, is he ever gonna do much in the UFC? No, but he's decent. I think he's decent, and I think he's still young. So maybe, yeah, he's only 26. Maybe he will get better. Who knows? But right now, we gotta ask, let's see if he'll get his second UFC win in a row. To talk about his opponent, Francis Marshall. Marshall in the UFC is 1-2 as well. I thought he was 2-2. Funny enough, he beat Connor Matthews on a Contender Series to get his contract. And then his UFC debut, he got his one UFC win against Marcelo Rojo by a vicious knockout. and in his last 2 fights were William Gomez and Isaac Dogarian. He lost both of those fights. I think he beat William Gomez. I think that was a robbery, but judge is gonna judge. And then Isaac Dogarian beat the shit out of him. Like, that was a mauling. So, which is not a bad thing. Dogarian's very good, but yeah, that was a fucking mauling. So, yeah. Yeah, not very much I can say about Francis Marshall. He's decent. His striking's decent. He has a ground game. He's like the most, like, I'd say a little below average as a fighter. He's not terrible at anything. Like, I'd say his cardio might be his worst weapon. Again, his striking's decent. He has decent power. His grappling, wrestling, what have you is good. But he's not, like, a world beater. Like, I think he's a little below average as a fighter. As I said, I think he is a beatable fighter, as we've seen. And I'm just not really high on him. I don't think I was anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. But I swear I was not even high on him after the Rojo fight. Like yeah, he beat William Gomez, but I think William Gomez is fucking terrible. So yeah, I don't know. I am, like, respecting Marshall for stepping out on short notice when he's on a 2-fight losing streak. An L here could really end his UFC career. So guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, maybe he can pull a big win off here and save his career. He's really young. He's fucking 25, 7-2. This is only his 10th career fight. So he's putting a lot on the line here, stepping in on short notice. Let's see if it pays off. The betting odds for this fight are, in my opinion, shocking, with Francis Marshall minus 145 to plus 115. I thought it would be completely opposite. I would have Buzukja minus like 150. Like, I look at this as Buzukja went from a fight he was going to lose to against Danny Silva to a fight he should win against Francis Marshall. I'm not really sure what people are saying with Francis Marshall that's saying he should be the favorite. Like, I'm happy Tapology agrees with me. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, I think Buzukja is better. On the feet, I think Buzukja is more technical. On the ground, I think Buzukja might be as good. Cardio-wise, I think Buzukja, he has a full camp. So, I just really not seeing what people are... I'm not sure what people see here of Marshall. I just think... I think Buzukja is better as a fighter, and that's why my pick here is going to be Dennis Buzukja, my first underdog of the night, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think he's better. I just think he's better, and like I said, this is the first time... Well, not... Today was the first time I saw the odds for this fight, because the fight just got booked, and I was shocked. I was like, what? I did not expect Marshall would be the favorite, so could I get what they're coming from? I guess, but I don't see it completely. So I'm going down Buzukja by decision. I think he's just a better fighter. But I guess we'll see. He's riding high on a knockout win compared to Marshall riding low on 2 losses in a row on short notice. It's hard not to pick Buzukja here for me, so that's who I'm going to go with. I'm going Dennis Buzukja by decision. I think he's better. Let's see if he can prove the betting odds are wrong, because those odds just seem wrong as is. So, 43 minutes into the video, those are the prelims done. They're not bad. Cong Wang is interesting. Zygimantas could be a good fight. Slava Claus could be fun. Buzukja could be fun. Even Medina getting flatline could be fun. This is definitely the fucking... what's the term I want to use? I'd say the one low point. I think this fight's gonna be pretty dreadful, but everything else around it I think is a decent fight that could be good. So for prelims, it's not bad for an Apex prelim to have interesting debuting fighters, Slava Claus, Buzukja, Reese. It's not bad, and I'm intrigued to see how these play out, because I think a lot of these picks could either be on the money or wrong. So the only ones I'm confident in are Reese and Cong Wang. So let's see what happens, I guess. Yeah, can't really think of much more to say before getting into the main card. So unless I'm forgetting to say something about the prelims or in general, which I don't believe I am, we're ready to talk about 6 more main card fights. I am. Already 44 minutes in. Let's see if I can not take too long to talk about this. So, but you know me, that's a challenge. Enough rambling. Looking into main card opener. Heading back to middleweight for a way better fight than Medina Reese, as we begin a main card with a fight that I'm shocked didn't happen in the past when one of these guys were on a fucking rise. as we begin the main card with Edmen, the Golden Boy, Shahbazyan versus GM3, Gerald, Meerschaert. Not a bad fight. Definitely going to end in a finish, I believe, so that's definitely always a good thing. And, yeah, again, I'm shocked this fight didn't happen when Edmen was on his fucking climb up into, like, fucking, like, good, really high-level prospect status, since it just seems like a fight they would have done to build him up. Since GM3, I swear, is always fighting fucking prospects. So I'm a little shocked he never fought Edmen till now, but I guess now we're going to see what would have happened. I'm intrigued. Let's get into it, and we start with Edmen Shahbazyan. Edmen in the UFC is 6-4. His 6 wins are from the Contender Series: Darren Stewart, Charles Bird, Jack Marchman, Brad Tavares, Dolce Lungambula, and AJ Dobson. His 4 losses are Derek Brunson, Jack Hermanson, Nasruddin Imavov, and Fluffy Hernandez. You gotta kind of talk about his career in 2 parts. You got the rising up and in 3 parts even. The rising up and comer who was running through everyone, had Izzy talking about fighting him on JRE, and then in the pandemic, he fought Derek Brunson and got crushed. Fought Jack Hermanson, got crushed. Fought Nasruddin Imavov, got crushed. So then he was down bad. The UFC gives him a layup at Dolce Lungambula. He looked okay, he won. It's Dolce Lungambula though. Then you have him fight Fluffy Hernandez. He got smashed. Great booking, Dana. And then in his last fight, they gave him another layup in AJ Dobson, and he was able to win that. One thing I just noticed about his fucking career, he's never beat anyone good. His best win's Brad Tavares. Like, even his last 2 wins are a Kaan and a guy who's not even in the UFC anymore. So, and every time he fights anyone good, he gets beat. Like, it's not hard to determine Edmen's fucking weakness. Cardio, because he has some fucked up ribs, like inverted ribs or whatever it's called, and ground game. His ground game's terrible. He can't fucking grapple. Which is funny that he fucking trained with Ronda Rousey and he can't grapple to save his fucking life. Like, it's actually super ironic if you really think about it, that he can't grapple for shit, but he trained with Ronda Rousey. So, I don't know. I'm not sold on Edmen is back, because I know that's definitely the thing people are saying. Edmen's back. The dude's 1-2 in his, or 2-1 in his last 3, and he beat Dolce and AJ Dobson, 2 guys most people don't even fucking know who they are. So, if all you gotta do is beat the lowest of the low to be classified as back, then fuck, it's not that hard. But then you look, every time he fights a halfway capable fucking fighter, he loses. Like Hermanson or Brunson just dominate him. Like, it's just, I'm not sold on Edmen. It's hard to be sold on Edmen until he gets a decent win again. Like, the dude's 26 years old, that's the only fucking advantage he has. He's still so young that that giant losing streak and all that didn't really hamper him that much as you think it would, because again, he's 26 years old. I'm not, but I'm, like I said, I'm just not sold on Edmen is back to, like, I don't think he is. I'm not convinced that he is. He did change camps. He got rid of that fucking, speaking of Ronda Rousey, that, I forget his name, that fucking clown who was her coach, the head movement guy. But now I think he's with Eric Nixick and all that, which is very good, very fucking good, but that could, you're only as your camp doesn't make you the fighter. You actually gotta go in there and fight. So we'll see if he's got much better with Nixick. He looked okay against AJ Dobson, but AJ Dobson, like, fuck, man. I don't know. Edmen, prove me wrong. Prove you have cardio. Prove you can stop a takedown. Let's see how you do against a good veteran like GM3. Show you are literally back. A win here, and I don't know if I'd say you're back, but I'd be like, okay, Edmen's interesting. We'll see how he does in his next fight. So, gotta win here, though. Gotta win here. Because he is fighting the very tough veteran, GM3, Gerald Meerschaert. GM3 is 11-9 in UFC. I'm shocked he has that few fights. I'm not going to go down his whole career, just going to name his biggest wins off. Trevin Giles, Darren Wind, Mahmoud Murdov, Dustin Stoltzfus, Bruno Silva, Brian Barberena. His losses are Thiago Santos, Jack Hermanson, Kevin Holland, Eric Anders, Ian Heinisch, Hamza Chimaev, Krzysztof Jotko, Joe Pfeiffer, and Andrei Petrosky. GM3, is he a good fighter? Not really. But he's good at what he's really good at grappling. That's it. Can he strike? No. Does he have any power? Not really. Can he kick? No. Does he have good cardio? Not necessarily. He's just a decent veteran. He's annoying to fight because he is so good on the ground, but if you can keep it standing or you have a capable ground game, you're good. Like, if you look at the guys he's beat, at least lately, you got guys who are either not very good on the ground or guys who are just not very good. So, this is a fucking weird fight. We know we're getting with GM3 though. He's not trying to strike with you. He's trying to fucking get you to the ground and see what happens. Either he's going to be able to sub you or you will survive. Most likely you're not going to survive if you get on the ground with GM3, but we never know. So, I think this is either a very scary matchup for Edmen or a very perfect matchup for Edmen. 28 submissions. Fuck. He's 36 years old, but holy shit, 36 years old, 36 wins. That's fucking amazing. He's still fighting decently at 36 years old. Yeah, I get he's fucking 2-3 in his last 5, but like again, he's not a great fighter, but still at 36 years old to be 2-3 and have Bruno Silva be one of those 2 wins is not bad. And you might have think he beat Andrei Petrosky. So yeah, not really. He's never lost. I don't know. I'm not gonna try and fucking go in deep on GM3 because they're fucking pointless. He's GM3. You know what we're getting of GM3, a fighter who's perfectly fine. Not a world beater, not a fucking striking champion, but a really good grappler. Simple as that. I don't know if I could put it any other simpler terms. But yeah, not very much else I can say. The betting odds. This is where I have a lot to say. Edmen Shahbazyan minus 300. You're on crack. I think Edmen at even minus 200 is too high. I think Edmen being the favorite makes sense a little bit, but I'd have Edmen like minus 140, 130. Like, GM3, like, unless you think Edmen's just gonna Hamza GM3, fucking one punch and he's dead. But do you really think he's gonna do that? I don't. I think GM3 is going to make him work for that knockout if he gets it. If he even gets it, GM3 might be submitting him. So, I think fucking minus 300 is insane. And especially if the fight goes into round 2 and 3, that live odds might be a bet worthy if GM3 is still the underdog. So, I don't know. I'm going to go for the underdog. I'm going GM3. I'm not sold on Edmen as back yet. I'm going with the guy who I know is going to fight one way and one way only, and that's going to be in trying to get Edmen to the ground, which is what I want a fighter to do when fighting Edmen Shahbazyan. So, I'm going GM3 by submission in the second. I think he'll be able to survive, maybe survive early against Edmen, and just beat him, gas him out, and sub him. I just don't see Edmen rolling over GM3 like that. I think would I be shocked if Edmen wins? No. I think a very high possibility Edmen wins. But do I think it's gonna be minus 300 a looking win? No. So give me GM3 by submission in a second. Takedowns. You have better cardio. You are the veteran. Gas him out. Do what Derek Brunson did. Do what Fluffy Hernandez did. And submit him. Well, Brunson didn't submit him, but just gas him out and beat him. So give me the underdog. Give me GM3 by submission in a second. Let's see if Edmen's really back, and let's see if he's really improved. Only one way to find out. After that, we head to our second fight of the main card in the welterweight division. A very good fight. Probably should be the co-main, but I'm fine with what the co-main really is. And then our second fight of the main card, we head to welterweight for a very good fight between Michael Morales versus Neil the Haitian Sensation Magny. Very good fight. Great to see Michael Morales back, and Neil Magny's never a bad thing to see on a card, so it should be fun. Let's talk about Michael Morales. Morales in the UFC is 4-0. Yes, he is 4-0 coming out of Contender Series. His 4 wins in the UFC are Trevin Giles, Adam Fugit, Max Griffin, and Jake Matthews. He's really good. He's really good. I'm happy he's finally back after almost a year. 25 years old, 16-0. This guy's good. This is fucking Ecuador's best champion, with Cheeto being an ass. So, he's good. He's really good. Like, has he looked phenomenal in the UFC? No. He's not been like Shavkat or fucking, like, even I think Brian Battle has looked as impressive, or even JDM at times. But he's looked good. Like, he smashed Trevin Giles. The Fugit performance was not great, but then he clearly beat Max Griffin and Jake Matthews, 2 very, very good fucking wins. For a young dude to beat veterans like Max and Jake Matthews within 4 months of each other. So, Morales is good. Morales is very good. Now he's getting the biggest fight of his career so far against everyone's favorite welterweight gatekeeper, Neil Magny. Yeah, let's see what Morales can do. This is definitely this is a test for him. Let's see if he's legit. To be legit at welterweight, you have to beat Neil Magny, I swear to God. Like, JDM got lucky, he didn't have to fight Neil Magny. Every other fucking welterweight has to. So, let's see if Morales can pass the test. Many have failed. I think he's good, but fighting Neil Magny will determine if he is or not. At welterweight, that's the fucking, that's the stick you gotta fucking try and break, so. The measuring stick is the term I try to think of. That's the measuring stick for welterweight. Let's see how Morales does. Finally back after a long time. 25 years old. Let's see if he can beat the veteran. That veteran being, like I said, Neil Magny. Neil Magny in the UFC is 22-10. No fucking way I'm going down his whole career. Not like you care anyway. We all know Neil Magny is a win-lose fighter. He's never been a fucking top 5 dude. Never was a champion level dude. But he's like the definition of a gatekeeper. He's good enough to beat these bad fighters like Mike Malott and fucking Phil Rowe, but he's never good enough to beat Shavkat, Gilbert Burns, Michael Chiesa when he was still good, Ponzinibbio, what have you. He's always been good, but not that good. But he's never been a bad fighter, you know? Even at 37 years old, he's still a very decent fighter, so I've kind of gained a new respect for Neil Magny to an extent. I still don't think he's a great fighter, but I think he's decent, and especially with the list of guys he has fought just on this page alone. Joff Neal, Max Griffin, Shavkat, D-Rod, Burns, Ian, Mike Malott, Michael Morales. This dude never has an easy fight. Like, fuck, man. So, at 37 years old, he's still a good fighter. And let's see if he can turn back another prospect after complete fraud-chucking Mike Malott earlier in the year. So, let's see if he can get number 2. He's done it before. Phil Rowe, D-Rod to an extent. Joff Neal to an extent. So, let's see if he can do it again. See, we know what he's trying to do. He's trying to cuddle you up against the cage and tire you out. His striking has never been amazing. It's just his fight IQ. It's pretty much his fight IQ. He's just a he's a smart veteran. He tries to tire you out with the grappling. He is so long and lengthy that it works, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if it does here. The bang on first fight have Michael Morales minus 650 to plus 450. I think that's insane. I don't know how you can trust a prospect that much against Neil Magny. Shavkat's the only one I can make an exception for. Like, Ian Gary shouldn't have been that high of a favorite. Fucking Mike Malott shouldn't have been that high of a favorite, clearly. And a couple other guys have just, like... I don't know how you can have Michael Morales minus 650. Do I think he's going to win? Yes, I'm picking Michael Morales. But 650? You're pushing it. I would say at most 300. 300, 250 is where I would have him. I don't think he's minus 650 in this fight. I think he's even higher of a favorite now. I think he's like more minus 800. So, I don't think that 9% is insane. I'm not, like, could it happen? Neil Magny could win this fight. He's 3 inches taller. He's an inch in reach. He's 12 years older, which is a bad thing, but he's way more experienced. He has so many more fights than he almost has as many losses as Michael Morales has fights. So I don't know. I'm not trying to make a case for Neil Magny winning because I don't think he's going to, but I'm gonna make a case for the odds not being so wide because I don't think Michael Morales is a lock candidate. I cannot, unless like the only fighter who's fought Neil Magny lately that I think could have been a lock against him is Gilbert Burns because we know how good he is. He's not a fucking prospect. Everyone else, I don't think was a lot. Well, Shavkat, but Shavkat's fucking a 1 of 1. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going Mike Morales. I think he's gonna win. But if Neil Magny won, would I be that shocked? Not really. So we've seen it happen too many times to be shocked by it by now. So yeah. But yeah, I'm going Mike Morales by decision. I don't think he gets to finish. Neil is tough to finish, and Mike Morales has kind of been a decision machine lately against these veterans, so I think he just looks good in the fight. It might be a close fight, but I think Morales will pull out the win, and I'm going to say, and still undefeated, Michael Morales by decision. But don't be shocked if the fraud checking happens. I hope it doesn't, though, because I like Michael Morales. 4 more left on the main card, and now we go into our first tough finale of the night. We go with the lighter weight class first, as we have the featherweight tournament, the tough finale, as we have Kaan, Gangris, Ofli versus Mairon, Elendra Santos. Very good fight, very good tough finale. We just learned about this fight 48 hours ago almost, well, kind of got spoiled. The badging kind of got spoiled at the beginning of the week, but I tried to forget that, but either way, this is our tough finale for the featherweights, and it's a good one. It's a good one. I think skill-wise this is better than the middleweight one, but excitement-wise it might not be, so. But still a good fight. I'm excited for this, and let's see who's going to be the featherweight ultimate fighter. I'm trying to think of another featherweight ultimate fighter. Not many are coming to mind at the moment, so if he will join a very shallow cast. And we'll talk about Kaan Ofli first, a guy who we've known is in this fight for a minute now. Of course, making his UFC debut, coming from tough. He's good. I think Kaan's the best featherweight on the show from the 2 fights I saw of him. In his first fight, he beat Nathan Fletcher. He just dominated him, and in his second fight, he beat, I'm not going to try and remember, they had a South African dude on the show. He beat that guy in, like, very quickly by guillotine, because the guy has no idea how to grapple, and now he's here. Kaan's looked great. Like, I've not really seen many flaws in Kaan's game in the 2 tough fights. Like, against Nathan, he showed he could go 2 rounds. I know it's only 2 rounds, the first round of tough. And he has a really good ground game against the bald dude, is what I remember him as. He shows he can get a submission. So, McGregor, that's funny. Yeah, I think Kaan's good. I think Kaan's a very good fighter, and he's only like 31. Yeah, 31 years old, 11-2-1. He's not a complete newbie like a lot of tough fighters. And let's see how he does here, man. Let's see how he does. Can he win the season? Like, he's not fought anyone like big outside the UFC, but on tough he went 2-0. Can he make it 3-0 and win the show? We'll see. I think if he's going to do that, he's gonna need to get takedowns, because he's more of a wrestler. He's not a boring one, but he is more of a wrestler. So he can strike, but in this fight he wants to wrestle. Trust me. So. Because his opponent here is Mairon Santos, who is very good. Mairon, obviously, tough finale. He's good. Mairon's a very good fighter, very good striker, very well-rounded fighter. He can wrestle. His ground game's okay. Did I just say the same thing? He's a very good striker. His ground game's okay. He's decent. He's definitely young, only like 24 or some shit. 24. 13-1, very inexperienced compared to Kaan. But he also looked great in the show. He went 2-0, beating Edwin Cooper in his first fight, kind of just outsmarted him, let him gas himself out in round 1 and dominated him from there. And then in his fight on Tuesday against, I'm not even trying to remember his name, the guy who stepped in for Zyga earlier, he just dominated him. It was just a showcase of how good his striking is. So Like, Santos is good. Mairon is very good, but I don't know if he's gonna really need to stop takedowns here, which is something he couldn't do against a fresh Edwin Cooper on tough in the first round. So, and something I do see is he has fought UFC level guys, fighting Dan Argueta a couple years ago and losing to him. Plus, he almost fought in the actual UFC fighting fucking Sean Woodson. So that's interesting. Yeah, he's good. He's good. Since they signed both guys in the finale fight, no matter what, he's gonna be a good addition to the UFC. He's very young, and fucking training under Alexa Grasso just made his striking even better. So you can't really ask for a much better striking coach than that. And you can already see he is a really good striker. So see what he can do here. Let's see if he can beat the veteran of the two in Kaan. Another fight where I think the betting odds are a little crazy, as we have Santos at -200 to +155. I think you're a little crazy. I would have it a pick 'em, if not even Kaan the favorite. I think Kaan looked a little better on the show, like skill-wise. Like, Mairon was more exciting and probably like the better striker, but on the ground and just as a fighter overall, I think Kaan's a little bit better. So I get the 13-1 record's a lot shinier than 11-2. Plus, he is a lot younger, but I don't know. I think it should be a pick'em. I'm not really. I don't agree with the -200 in this fight. I think I'm not even sure what is making people go with that, because I did not see anything on the show that should make either guy -200. It should be a pick'em, if not a tiny favorite for Kaan. So maybe Mairon will prove me wrong and make me look stupid with that, but I just don't see a -200 fighter here. I see two guys who are very evenly matched, and I'm very excited for this fight. So yeah, like, he's taller by a couple inches, so I'll give him that much, but that's about it. So I'm not really sure much what else I can say. So the only thing left to say is, who am I picking? I kind of hinted it earlier. I'm going Kaan. I think Kaan's going to fight smarter, get to takedowns, and I think he'll win. I think he'll be able to gas out Santos, because Santos did show a little bit like iffy gas tank against Edwin Cooper in his first tough fight, and I'm going Kaan. I think he's the smarter fighter, and I think he'll be able to get to the ground. If not, if it's a striking match, Santos is going to win easily. But if it hits the ground, I think it's going to be in Kaan's world, and I think he's going to get the win. So that's my pick. I'm going to go Kaan, Ofli by decision. I don't see him getting a finisher. And I think Turkey's going to get their first Ultimate Fighter. So it's close, though. I'm excited for this fight. And if I get to pick wrong, I'm not shocked, because it is so close. So give me Kaan by decision. I'm excited. And now for the other tough finale, as we head up a couple weight classes to middleweight for our middleweight tough finale. And I think this one's a little more exciting, and it's going to be a little more exciting. And I'm excited. I think I'm really excited for this one. As in our tough middleweight finale, our fourth fight of the main card, we have Ryan Man of Steel Loder versus Robert Robzilla Valentin. This is going to be good. This is going to be a good, probably a quick fight also. I don't think this is going 15 minutes. If the right guy wins. If the wrong guy wins, it's going to be 15 boring minutes, which no one wants to see. But I guess we gotta fucking wait and see, so let's start this breakdown with Ryan Loder, the American of the show. How to get one of them in a finale. Obviously Ryan went 2-0 on the show to get his finale fight. He beat... who the fuck did he beat? He beat two guys who are not very great. So he didn't have the greatest wins. Like, if I had to make comparison for him, I just see Chris Weidman when I see Ryan Loder. He's just a boring wrestler. He's just Chris Weidman. He's a boring wrestler. He's not a good striker. His cardio's alright. He's literally just a wrestler. The simplest way I could put it. I'm not excited to see him here. I wish it was a lot of other people from the show in this fight against Robert and Loder. I just think Loder's lame. He's not. I don't look at him as a very good fighter. Was he meant to be on Contender Series? No. Yeah, I don't know. Not really much I can say. He's just Chris Weidman. He's gonna try and take down Robert for as long as the fight goes, and if he succeeds, he's gonna win. If he doesn't, then obviously he's gonna get knocked the fuck out. So yeah, I think Loder's definitely the worst tough fighter on this card, and that's even including fucking the prelim fight. He's just not good. I don't. He's just Chris Weidman. That's all I can say. He's Chris Weidman. To talk about the opponent, Robert Valentin. Robert, I think, is the star of the show. He was the best fighter on the show. He's the most exciting fighter on the show. Seems like a great dude. He was being a fucking coach for his teammates. He's great. I'm so excited to see him here, and I think he's gonna be this, like, in my opinion, probably the best fighter from this season. He's special. He's exciting. He's a good dude. He's likable. He's gonna be a problem, and I'm very excited to see him in the UFC. So yeah, he looked great on his 2 fights on Tough, getting a 14-second elbow knockout and then beating Paddy, I forget what his name was, Holigan or some shit. That should have been the finale fight, by the way, but we don't get nice things. But yeah, Robert definitely stood out immediately, and I think he's the star of this season fighter-wise. So let's see if he can cap the season off with a contract win. Stop takedowns, which, even though he has a really good ground game, so I just think Loder's kind of fucked here. So he just kind of drew the best fighter on the show. Good luck, Loder. You need it. The betting odds first, I have Robert Valentin minus 180 to plus 150. Now this should be a minus 200 fucking fight. Valentin could easily be minus 200. I think he's way better than Loder. He's better everywhere than Loder. On the feet, he's better on the ground. He's not a slouch. Like, he's as big. He's younger. He's just better. He's better. Loder's just a wrestler. Valentin's a fighter. And this is gonna be a really good fucking fight, and gonna be a nice way for Loder to get his UFC contract. So, give me Robert Valentin, or did I say Loder? Good way to get Robert a UFC contract. So, give me Robert Valentin by knockout in the first. I think he's going to run through Loder. Loder's just not good. Simple as that. It's simple as that. So, I think the best, since I made a comparison for Loder, the best comparison for Valentin, maybe Yuri. I think Yuri would be a really good example. He's a crazy dude. He's a nice dude, though. He's a crazy fighter. Yeah, I think Yuri, I think kind of Chris Weidman versus Yuri, I guess, would be how I would describe this fight. So, and just like if that fight really did happen, I'm going with Yuri. So, give me the Yuri in this fight. Robert Valentin by knockout in the first. He's better, and I think he's going to show that here. So, yeah, Robert Valentin by knockout in the first. About all I can say. Now we go to our co-main event of the evening. A very decent co-main event. I know a lot of people don't care about this fight. Do I think it's going to be a fight of the night? No. But I think it's an interesting fight nonetheless. And an interesting one to predict even more. So let's see what happens. As in our co-main event of the evening, we have Angela Overkill Hill versus Tabatha Baby Shark Ricci. This should be good. This should be a decent fight. Always good to see Angie on a card. Who does not love Angie? Tabatha Ricci is always cool to see on a card. This is a fun co-main. This is a very fun co-main, and let's see what happens. Of course, we gotta talk about the legend, the OG, fucking Angie Overkill first. She is 12-13 in UFC. Not bad. She's good. She is a good fighter. Just she's ran into better fighters. Like Tisha Pennington just had her number. She beat Amanda Lemos. Fucking Jandy Roba was better. Mackenzie Dern was better. But fucking Hill's good. Like Hill looks good against the lower of the ranking. Like even people like Godinez, Pinheiro, and Gomes who are ranked level 5. Well, at least Gomes and Godinez. She looks great against them. So. She's always been a good fighter. She's never been a pushover. Just she's never been able to break that glass ceiling and go into a title fight or some shit, or the top 5 of the rankings. She's always just been good, kind of like Neil Magny. Perfect fucking example. Neil Magny, kind of the same thing as Neil Magny. She loves beating prospects, but she's never able to beat the higher echelon of the division. So, yeah, I think Neil Magny is the fucking perfect example for Angela Hill. So. And she's good at everything. She's a good striker. She has good cardio. Her ground game ain't terrible. Her fight IQ is good. She got her first submission of her fucking UFC career in her last fight. Of her career, period, in her last fight. So, she's good. Yeah, the record looks terrible. The UFC record looks terrible. But if you actually watch her fight, especially lately where she's not even doing that bad, fucking 1-4 or 4-1 in her last 5. Angie's looking good, man. Angie's looking good. I think we're all happy to see Angie looking good because, again, everyone loves Angie because she's Angie. So, yeah, can't really say much else. To talk about her opponent, Tabatha Ricci. Ricci in the UFC is 5-2. In my opinion, should be 4-3. Her 5 wins are Maria Oliveira, Poliana Viana, Jessica Panay, and Julian Robertson. Her losses are Manon Fierro, Lupi Godinez, and in my opinion, Tisha Pennington. She lost that fight. Ricci, in a nutshell, is her UFC career comes down to she stepped on a short nose and got dominated by Manon. That's respectable. Her next 4 fights, she looked great, dominating Polly, Panay, Julian Robertson, some fine wins. But then she started getting the tough fights in the rankings. Godinez beat her. Pretty, not easily, but at a decent... I think she was the better fighter. Tisha Pennington, I think, beat her. Ricci would look terrible in that fight. Like, Ricci just did not look great, and she's just not looking like she's improving as a fighter. Like, her striking is improving slowly. I still don't think she's a great striker. Like, you can beat Julian Robertson in a striking match, but against a Tisha Pennington and Lupi Godinez, you've looked kind of lost on the feet. And even in the Pennington fight, she couldn't really get takedowns, and if she did, it was for fucking 10 seconds. So, Ricci has talent, and she was very young still. She's only like 28 or some bullshit, 29, and she had that fucking, that boxer kid Dana loves as a fucking boyfriend, but she's just not seemed to get better as a striker. And, like, her striking ain't great, her cardio is fine, her wrestling's good when she can actually get it to the ground, but ever since she started fighting the higher echelon of the division, like I said, Lupi and Pennington, she's looked pretty bad. She's just not looked like she's to that caliber of fighter, and now she's fighting the veteran of all veterans in Angela Hill. That just does not sound great for her. So... Maybe she'll show improvements here, even though she only fought 4 months ago. So I don't know how much she's improved in that time, but never know. Maybe she'll show a new fucking asset to her game, but I don't know. I've just not really been super impressed with Ricci lately. That 4-fight winning streak I picked her against Lupi, but Lupi beat her, Tisha beat her. She's just not looking like she's improving, so... Hopefully she shows something here, because I do like Ricci, but she needs to show improvements in some areas, outside of just her ground game, which she, again, has to actually get to the ground first, so let's see if she's improved. The betting odds are pick 'em on Tapology, but I think the real odds as of right now, I think Ricci's they might still be a pick 'em, but I think Ricci's definitely leaning more towards being the favorite. Like, they switched from being a pick'em to Ricci being a favorite, I believe, which I get, but I think a pick'em's fair. I think Ricci as a favorite is kind of pushing it of how she's looked lately. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks Ricci's not looking good lately, and if so, fine, but again, I've just not really been impressed with her performances lately, GSP style. So, again, fighting a veteran like Angie, she's going to need to show up and fight to her best, because Angie's not going to be a pushover here. Looking great 2-fight winning streak. Ricci, let's see what you can do. Angie, let's see what you can do. Have fun, co-main. Who am I going with? I'm leaning Angie. This is the first time I've picked against a Ricci since her debut, I believe. And it's hard to pick her here. I'm leaning Angie. She's looked better lately. She's the veteran here. Like, and let's be honest, Angie, way better on the feet. Way better cardio. Decent ground game. Not better than Ricci's, but a decent ground game. Fight IQ's better. It's hard not to pick her Angie here. Will this be one of the fights where Angie just looks like shit and loses? Good possibility. Angie's done that a good amount of times, especially in the last couple years for her career. But... do I think that's going to happen? I don't think so. I don't see Ricci just taking her down at will and beating her here. She's going to, if she does get to the ground, she's going to use so much energy, because Angie's very good, that I don't know if she's going to be able to get to the ground easily, if at all. She couldn't really get Tisha down. Now you're fighting someone who I think is better than Tisha. I'm not sure, man. I'm leaning Angie. I don't know. I don't know, I'm leaning Angie. Either the pick's gonna look really bad by the end of the fight, or really good. So, I'm going Angie by decision. I think she's just the better fighter. Right now, who's looked better? Angie. Who favors this matchup more? Angie. I'm going Angie by decision. All I'm gonna say. Good co-main. Tough fight. Could be a good one. And now, for our amazing main event of the evening, we head back to middleweight for the third time tonight, and easily the best time. Again, this fight is amazing. As in our main event of UFC Vegas 96, we have another middleweight main event in a row between Gerald Killer Gorilla Cannonier versus Kyle the Natural Borralho. Amazing fight, way too good for the Apex, but fuck, for an Apex main event, this is amazing. I'm excited. This is gonna be great. I really don't even have to break this down much. We know what we're getting with these two. So let's just get into it. Not really much to say. Amazing main event. Let's talk about it. Well, I'm not going to say much about Gerald Cannonier. You know Gerald Cannonier, 10-7 in the UFC. At middleweight, he is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3. Only losses to Rob Izzy. I barely count that Imavov fight as a loss since it was so bullshit. Yeah, Cannonier is still very good, but at 40 years old, you definitely see him slowing down. The Imavov fight's the worst he has looked in a long time. Like, even the Izzy performance, I think, was a little better than the Imavov performance. Like, he just looked slower than usual. He just looked a little bit outgunned. Like, he's just looking older now. 2 months later, he's turning around and fighting something. He's never really been someone to turn around and fight that quickly. So, we'll see if that benefits him. Let's just see what happens. Again, we know we're getting with Gerald, big power puncher, but at 40, his gas tank looks a little worse. He's never been a great grappler. Let's see what he can do here, man. Let's see what he can do here. He's still good, but is he still the killer gorilla we know? Not sure. Because he is fighting an opponent 9 years younger than him, and the up-and-coming beast that is Kyle Borralho, the mix of Paulo Costa and Charles Oliveira. Kyle in the UFC is 6-0, coming out Contender Series. His 6 wins are Gadzi Omagadziev, Armen Petrosyan, Makhmud Muradov, Michael Olejniczak, Abus Magomedov, and Paul Craig. Yeah, none of those wins are great. Like, his best win, I guess, is Paul Craig. But the one thing, he has looked great in all these fights. The only bad performance, I think Muradov was his weakest performance, and even that was not that bad. His other performances have just been domination, so he's good. He's really fucking good, and he's getting a big test here. Would I have liked to see him fight someone kind of decent before getting to this big jump up? Yeah, like him versus Jack Hermanson, or fucking even like Roman Dolidze would have been a little more. Would have been nice to see before this, but UFC loves these fucking Apex main events where a young guy gets a big jump. Let's see if this one finally pays off, since a lot of them have not been paying off lately. I think we know what we're getting with Kyle by now. His striking is getting better, as we saw in the Paul Craig fight, but his ground game is where it's at. He's a great wrestler, great grappler, whatever, coming from the Fighting Nerds gym, which is, well, again, I talk about it every week somehow. It's fucking amazing. And let's see if he can get their first main event win from that gym. So, 31 years old, peak of his fucking career, a win here, and he's 1 win away from a title shot. I would say this is the biggest fight of his life. Can he show he's legit, or does he get if he gets knocked out here, I might call it a fraud checking. But if he comes out here and looks good and beats Gerald Cannonier, then you can make some road debates. And if he let's say he finishes Cannonier, he might jump in that title shot picture. Because you know they want to skip Sean Strickland for no reason, so we'll see, man. We'll see what happens here. I'm very fucking excited to see what happens. This can be a very good fight, and we know what both these guys want to do, so let's see who implements their game plan better. The bang out first fight with Kyle Borralho, minus 205 to plus 170. Yeah, kind of hard to disagree. Like, maybe you can move Kyle down to minus 180, 190, but he should win. 9 years younger, on a giant undefeated streak in UFC compared to a dude who's 40 and not looking great lately. How do you not pick Kyle? Like, on the feet, it's not as far apart as you think. Gerald's getting very old and getting slower. Like, he has the power still, but he's very old and slow. Kyle is much taller, much younger, much bigger. Like, cardio-wise, we'll see how Kyle's cardio looks in a 5-rounder, if it goes 5 rounds. And it's just a really great main event. I cannot wait. So, it all comes down to, can Gerald keep it on the feet and maybe knock him out, or can Kyle get it to the ground and just do what he's been doing? I guess we have to wait and see. Who am I going with? Kyle Borralho. Sorry, Gerald, but looking shit against Nasruddin Imavov, you're losing to Kyle Borralho, so it's hard not to pick Kyle, so give me Kyle. I think he's going to kind of start taking out the new guard, and start with Gerald Cannonier. We saw Izzy lose last week. Now we're gonna see fucking Gerald lose. Then the old guard is starting to move aside for the new guard, like Drake is Kyle and Allen. So let's see if, and I say that before it's even happened. Let's see if Kyle actually beats Gerald. Then we can really say that. But if you're not waiting to see, I'm going Kyle Borralho by decision. It's hard to count out Gerald Cannonier, but at the same time, how he's looked lately and all the things surrounding it, I'm going Kyle Borralho by decision. Boom. Those are my picks. To go over them one more time. My lock of the night, Cong Wang by knockout in the first. Zygimantas Ramaska by decision. Jacqueline Cavalcanti by decision. Viacheslav Borshchev by knockout in the second. Reese by knockout in the first. Dennis Buzukja by decision. GM3 by submission in the second. Mike Morales by decision. Kaan Ofli by decision. Robert Valentin by knockout in the first. Angela Hill by decision. And Kyle Borralho by decision. Bang. It's a good card. It's a very good card. Like, the only fight on the card I can actually call bad is probably fucking José and Cavalcanti. The rest of the cards are really solid, so I'm excited. You got a great main event, a good co-main event, a great welterweight fight on the main card, great tough finales, a decent prelims. Can't ask for much more from an Apex card on paper. In execution, we'll have to wait and see, and I'll tell you how it did in execution Sunday with the recap, so we'll see what happens. Does it live up to how it looks, or does it kind of is it kind of smoke and mirrors? We're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm excited. UFC Vegas 96 looks very good, and we'll see if it lives up to that, or does the Apex ruin it like always? So let's wait and see. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling on. Almost an hour and a half, the longest video in a hot minute, it feels like. And yeah, I can't really think of much else to say. You'll hear me recap this card Sunday, and unless I'm forgetting to say something, which I would be shocked after an hour and a half. Yeah, can't really think of much else to say besides hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024. And unless I'm forgetting to say something, my voice is gone. As always, RX out. Good vibes only and always.